Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and welcome to Far Cry 5. This is the 7th game in the series. Yeah, I don't think the numbering system really works when you have the, I guess, off-canon side versions of Far Cry in here. Now, all that aside, this is a slight departure from what we've seen in the previous Far Cry games. And there's a lot that's familiar and a lot that's new, so let's just jump straight into it. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the game is like. This is... there we go. This is the map. It's divided into 3 regions. The center ones, I guess, kind of count. I mean, it's sort of a neutral ground between them. But anyway, the story is set in Montana, in the US, so very different from the tropical islands or, you know, Central Asian mountains that we've seen before. But all the same, it's a very, very pretty place to be in, let's be honest. There's a lot of big open space and a lot of trees, because we're in a forest. But yes, the story centers on a cult. It's kind of a forgettable story, really. I'm about, 15 hours into this so far, and honestly, I couldn't tell you what's really going on, other than that they're a hyper-religious extremist cult who are trying to, well, take over this place and purge all the sinners, which is, well, unfortunately we're in the sinner category. Now, when I say this is a departure from previous Far Cry games, it's because there are no towers. I mean, there are a few towers here and there, but you don't have the system of having to unlock things in the area by climbing up towers and doing a few things. It's all kind of, well, you discover things as you go, really. So by talking to NPCs, there's a bunch of NPCs up at the base over there, or we could just wander around and we'll eventually find things. So side missions, new characters with their own little story arcs, they all pop up as you explore. It's a game that actually rewards you for exploring instead of just going to a central point of interest. And it's also a game that really just doesn't stop with the action, to the point where it actually gets a little bit annoying. So if you want to get things done, you'll find that it doesn't really stop. Like, there's a little red marker on the top of the screen. Oh, it's just disappeared. But that's an enemy in the distance, and if you don't do what I'm doing right now by going through the trees, you're going to find yourself getting attacked by enemies all the time. So the cultists that patrol the roads, when you start a fight with one of them, it just kind of becomes an almighty traffic jam of enemies, and it just doesn't stop. But I will say, and this is something that is actually a bit of praise, even if you might not think so, this game has a lot of elements of games like Ghost Recon Wildlands. In fact, it reminds me of Wildlands a lot, specifically because the way bullets work in this game is quite similar to that. They fire a lot slower than you might expect, and you do actually have to compensate for range, which is something that I think was missing in a number of the previous Far Cry games, except for 4. I didn't actually play 4, so I have no idea. But it was missing from 3, that I remember. Let's just have a little scout around, and we'll see what's what. It seems like there's only one person here. They do have a hostage, so this is a kind of thing that you have to be aware of. Rescuing hostages gets you extra XP, and of course it can sometimes give you little side missions to do. If you attack them and you don't kill the one that's, you know, holding the hostage, they might actually kill them, which means you lose that extra bonus XP. So it pays to be stealthy. It also pays to scout the area correctly, because, as you might have noticed, there's no minimap, like, anywhere on the screen. The closest thing you have to any form of orientation is that compass at the top of the screen, and even that does not show anything behind you, so you do need to be aware of your surroundings a lot. So getting the element of surprise, as it were, is actually really, really important. So let's just have a look around here. I don't see anybody else. So we have a number of different ways that we can take this guy down. We can sneak up behind him and do a standard takedown. We also have a sniper rifle, which is good for long-range sort of things, which is why I have it. We also have explosives, which in this case, well, we've got dynamites, grenades, we've also got Molotovs and, you know, remote explosives and so on. All of these things aren't subtle. And let's be honest, it's probably going to get that person down there killed. Now, I'm out of throwing knives, so I may not be able to do that. However, this game also gives you melee weapons, and you can carry a lot of them. One of my favorite ones is the shovel, because this borrows something from Far Cry Primal. If I hold down right-click, I can actually throw this at enemies, and for some reason shovels work like spears. In fact, they work a lot like spears, so I'm just going to make sure there's nobody else around here. And let's just... We're going to have to compensate for range a little bit, so let's just aim about here. There was a little bit of snap lock on, so if I aimed sort of roughly near him, it kind of snaps to him at times. It's helpful, but it feels weird on the mouse. Alright, let's do that. Oh, it just went over his head. Oh, I've missed. Okay, I've missed completely. This has gone wrong. But I have gotten his attention, so... And it seems like he was the only one here. Alright, so that didn't go well. I'm gonna need my shovels back. My dude. So yes, the hitboxes of some of the melee weapons are a little bit off.
Please don't leave.
There we go. So look at the shovels are just embedded in the walls, which is kind of amazing. I don't know what superhuman character we play as, but yeah, you do have that option. Oh geez, she's actually been...
Over here.
Okay, so this little gas that seems to be coming off of her, yes, she's actually like one of those Sims. She hasn't showered in a little while, so she has that. No, actually, that's the effect of something called bliss, which is a drug that they use in this area to keep people under control. So liberating her seems a little dangerous. And... well, she poofed. So you can see there's a couple of things that are going on here that are a little bit weird. She wasn't actually real. And that starts to happen at a certain point in the story. I'm not going to spoil anything, we're not going to be doing any story-based stuff in this, but that is something that does happen.
Welcome to the bliss.
Alright, wakey wakey. So, this is a thing that happens from time to time, as the game will interrupt your free roaming and give you story bits. And, this literally just happened.
Do you feel different? Do you feel alive?
So I cut out what just happened there. If you don't want story spoilers, that's been cut out. Just know that occasionally it happens, and,
Walk the path. I'll see you soon.
yeah. You end up with some very strange effects and in a different area, but it does actually help to introduce the different characters quite well, including a lot of the friendly NPCs that you end up working with. All these guys are having a nap in jam right now, so that's a thing that people frequently do in this world. It's quite strange that they do that. We can just walk down that way, which I don't know where this leads, actually. We can continue on that way, or we can try grappling up and see where that gets us. Let's grapple up and see what's going on. So the grappling system is one of the skill perks that you can unlock, and you will inevitably want to, because it does help you to get to different places. It's very Spider-Man, like in the sense that it kind of defies gravity. In fact, if you... I don't know if I can demonstrate this, but because you can grapple to quite a long distance, in fact, you can grapple sideways too and sort of swing, you do seem to sort of stop in midair when you grapple, so if I jump... Okay, that didn't really work. But yeah, when the grappling hook comes out, you sort of fall slower, is something I've noticed. But you can actually just sort of wander around sideways and swing from side to side, and then you just click to pull yourself up. So they give you a lot of freedom in terms of how much you can move, and there are some puzzles that center entirely on that mechanic, which is quite cool, actually. I think that works really nicely. So even here, we can just sort of swing. And you do actually genuinely have to build momentum. If I just keep holding backwards here, we don't go as far forwards as we normally would, which is quite cool. There's a lot of music being played right now.
Can you feel it? His grace stretches across this land. Go and be one with the Father.
I'm starting to feel like I'm going into story territory here, so I'm going to run away. I am going to run away. This is also the same save file? Yes, save file. Save file that I'm playing on stream as well, so I don't really want to clear too much of this. Oh, there's a looting thing. Because... Oh, parachute! Good thing I unlocked that early. Mainly because, yeah, I want to kind of save that for the stream itself. Speaking of which, twitch.tv/Panzerpoor if you want to go there. Links down in the description below. If you do want to check out the stream, because I am playing this entirely on the stream right now, so this is just a first impressions video of just kind of how I'm finding the game so far, really. And whether or not you should buy it, because, frankly, I do actually quite recommend it. Spoiler, yeah, I do actually recommend this game quite a lot. Alright, since we just showed off the grappling hook and the parachutes, which are two of the perk items, you can see there's a bunch of perks that you get now, and this is the entire system now, so all of that crafting, well, not all of the crafting, but the crafting for unlocks and so on, that's all gone, and you just have these perk points. You get perk points from doing a number of things, so there are these challenges that you can do, which will give you a number of perk points, and there's a lot of them. You just scroll through. There's all those from combat, and then you've got world ones, which, if you look through, actually some of these are spoilers, so I'm just kind of going through very, very quickly. But yes, there's hunting and fishing and all that stuff, and those give you perk points that you spend on these. And these unlock a bunch of different things, such as lockpicking, which allows you to unlock doors and so on, or the grappling hook. That is also something that's available there. Repair torch is also quite useful if you use vehicles a lot, and you might do because the map is quite large. And other things such as chain takedowns, or more ammo, even the additional holsters. These holsters are perk points as well, instead of, you know, craft, 30 bear asses or something to get one. Oh, enemies. Let's take you out. And we'll take you out with a shovel. Oh, okay, so this is one of those angels. They're like zombie-like people who have been tainted by the bliss. Ooh, that was a shovel to the face. Because I don't know where the shovel's gone. Did I get my shovel back? No, I didn't get my shovel back. Well, that's a hoe. Oh, shoot, there's a cougar right there. Yep, who needs a gun when you can hunt with a shovel? Also, yes, that's another thing. The animation that you used to get for skinning animals and all that, that's all gone now. And frankly, I don't miss it. I feel like that was a... While it looks cool, it was, It's the same for looting people as well. Like, you don't have that animation anymore. And frankly, that was an animation that you used to see in Far Cry 3. That's all kind of gone now. Because frankly, it didn't really add anything to the game, if you ask me. And it just felt slow, so if you were in combat, you could never really loot someone because you had to do that animation. Now you don't have to do that anymore. And I think that's really nice. You just don't have to do it anymore. And one more thing I wanted to touch on before we get into the meat of the game is microtransactions. Yes, this is a full-price AAA single-player game. Well, it has a multiplayer component, but primarily single-player game that has microtransactions in it. And they come in the form of these silver bars. Now, if you open that up, you can see exactly how much they cost. Now, this is in Singapore dollars, which is my local currency, but you can probably see just how much all of this is. So, just as a rough estimate for you guys, this large pack, these 2,000 silver bars, which gives you another 400 free, so 2,400 silver bars, is about 25 or 24 US dollars, around there. I don't know how much it would actually be, so you'll have to check your own local currency to see what this is actually going to be charged at. But that being said, yes, these are all microtransactions. So what are these actually used for then? Does it affect the gameplay in a very serious way? And thankfully, no. I'm still not happy that they're there, but the main thing that you use them for are cosmetics. And yes, that brings in the whole it's only cosmetic argument, which I still don't think is really valid for most games. But besides that, yes, a lot of these are just purely cosmetic. So you can see, yes, if you want the special, really, frankly, quite cool looking M79 grenade launcher, it's going to cost you $9,000, which is the in-game currency, or 500 silver bars. Now, you can find silver bars. I do actually have some here. You can find them in the world. If you go to prepper stashes and loot the safes and stuff, so you can sometimes find these. So it's not like they're beyond your reach completely if you don't buy them, but that said, they are still there, and it does throw them in your face right away, because at the moment you open up the weapons part to, you know, of the shop to go and buy anything, it's going to be the first thing that you see. Beyond that, there is only one instance of where I can definitely say the game gives you additional power, and that's the form of things like this. This is the Magnum Steel and Ivory variant. It is, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same as this particular Magnum right here. However, in fact, you can have a look at the stats, they are exactly the same. However, this Magnum is something you buy using in-game currency. You can, of course, skip that step if you happen to find an enemy that has it and you pick it up. That then means you no longer need to buy it because it's in your stash. That's a really cool feature, is that a lot of the guns that you pick up then become weapons that you own and you no longer need to spend money on them. Instead, you spend money on attachments and upgrading them and skins. However, this gets unlocked a lot sooner than that one. So arguably you could say you get a more powerful weapon, but then again this is also a weapon that has a very niche use, and your mileage may vary, of course. But in most cases it seems fairly balanced. Weapon unlocks and their skin unlocks seem to be about the same, so for the most part it doesn't become an issue. I think it's fairly well balanced most of the way. It's just that one particular instance that maybe it shouldn't be like that. But otherwise, I'd say it's mostly okay. It's been limited mainly to cosmetics, and these cosmetics don't come with any particular traits or attachments or anything like that. Their stats are exactly the same as their, you know, non-premium or prestige counterparts, so you don't really have anything that you're losing out on, except for that unique skin. However, I have noticed something else. If you have a look at, we'll just go to the standard pistol, there is a prestige skin for each one of these as well, which is slightly different, and these are much cheaper as well. So each weapon that you can get still has a sort of form of prestige, if you will. The other thing as well that you spend silver bars on is this, and it's the character customization. While your character has very limited customization options, it's something that you can't really change, but your outfit is something that you can definitely change, and a lot of these are prestige only. Some of which are available through Ubisoft Club if you have enough points to unlock them, or for example you own Rainbow Six Siege. And in other cases where if you own games like Wildlands and so on. So they do that similar thing of having tie-ins. But basically, yeah, all of these are cosmetics, and given that it's a first-person game, you practically never see your character. This is more for if you're playing co-op with somebody and you want to look slightly different to them, then that's something that you can do. So that's really what it's for. It's for showing off to your friends. It's not really something that's ever going to affect the game. So as for the standard weapons, they're not really priced much higher than what you might expect. So if I just have a look at the assault rifles, this one's $2,000, $2,600. These are available for in-game currency only, and the prices, which sadly I can't show you the prices of these weapons I already own, but the step up is actually quite minimal. So you can see it doesn't really increase that much between all of these. So the only real expensive weapons are all these prestige ones. Which is all fine and dandy, but that being said, it is still microtransactions in a single-player or AAA game, which is still something that I would rather not see. Right, let's go and find something to do. I've got an outpost to liberate over here. There are some others nearby, but I haven't really found many, so let's just get into a vehicle, and I'll cut to when I'm at the outpost. Right, we're getting quite close to the outpost now. Just a brief thing about the vehicles as well. The vehicle handling is quite nice. The vehicles do feel quite weighty. They're quite responsive even when driving using a keyboard. I will say they're quite nice to drive overall. And yeah, nothing really to complain about. They've also added this feature called auto drive. So it'll more or less drive in a straight line, which allows you to very easily shoot out of them. So it'll just kind of follow the road, or if you have a waypoint selected, it will actually attempt to drive to the waypoint, which I think is quite nice. Handbraking also feels quite responsive as well, so it's pretty good. And yes, you can just shoot out of the vehicle. If you're the driver, you can only use your sidearm, as far as I know. If you're a passenger, particularly if you're playing co-op, you can use all of your other weapons, and that includes things like RPGs, which is quite terrifying. Alright, I'm getting seen by someone, so I'm going to go and hide over here. This is an interesting feature. You can release the brakes on the vehicle, so if there's a vehicle parked on a slope, you can actually just release the brakes and just let it roll. It's not going to go anywhere right now, though, because it's kind of parked on a flat ground, but if I were to park the vehicle on a slope, then you would actually see that happen. So you can have some very interesting Just Cause like effects if you do that. I'm just gonna very briefly take this guy out. You know, let's go with the sniper rifle here. He's not far enough away that I need to use this, but this is the maximum zoom and this is the longest range scope. You can see that that's barely any zoom at all. So if you're expecting to do long range stuff like you do in Ghost Recon Wildlands, for example, that's not how it's going to happen here. So let's just hold breath, and I missed. There we go. Didn't miss the second time. But you can even see just how slow the bullet actually was. So over a distance of about... Oh, I've been seen by somebody. Did I get him? Nope. He shot at me as he went past, though. That's one of the trucks that you can actually loot. So if you kill the driver, you can actually loot the stuff from inside. And they usually contain weapons, ammo, money, and it gives you a nice amount of XP. So there's a lot of, like, random stuff that you can actually do. So kind of Red Dead Redemption-esque, where, you know, you have random activities that pop up every now and then. That's an example of one of them. And if I stayed at that crossroads, you would see plenty of them go past. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to go and take down this outpost, so let's go do that. Alright, just having a quick scout around. We found a couple of people. There's a guy doing jumping jacks over there. You have these little binoculars, which is the same as the camera in Far Cry 3. It just helps you to mark enemies. You can also mark them by aiming your weapon at them, but yeah, that's a little bit slower to do. This is definitely a faster way of doing it. You can set priority targets like this. There's a system that you have in Ghost Recon Wildlands, which I thought was really, really useful. So you have target 1, 2. Very useful for co-op. So you can mark targets like that. Oh, it's marking people behind there too. That appears to be a dog. Enemy dogs are quite vicious. You really don't want to mess with them. Oh, there's a bear down here. So that could be useful. So just like in Far Cry 3 and 4, taking over outposts, there's loads of different ways to do it, and you've got full freedom of how you want to do it. You can even bring a companion with you. I've got a bunch of companions. I'm not taking any companion with me right now, which is a bit of a mistake. I'm going to just quickly sort that out. So we've got a couple of people. We've got Nick Rye, who's a pilot. All of these have their special traits as well. So Boomer is our dog. And, you know, dogs are the best. He actually helps you to mark enemies. So if you're going into recon places, he's very, very useful for that. And he also helps you to loot. So very, very useful companion to have is Boomer. You've also got Grace Armstrong as a sniper. If you're doing stealth, she's probably not the one to have because her rifle is not silent in any way. But if you want to do stealth, Jess might be your better option there. There's a few others which I haven't unlocked, but you can see all of their perks immediately. And you also have these, which are random people that you can go and find and hire. They all fit certain classes, and they level up as well. So when they get a certain number of kills, they actually unlock their perks. So this guy is completely new. I recruited him because he had an RPG, and that's about it. But yeah, well, you can see his perks are actually hidden. And this guy has better, you know, recovery and... Come to think of it, She's probably better than him. Why do I even have you? Anyway, so yeah, these are companions you can have. I'm going to take Boomer for this. We're going to assign him to that squad slot. You can also have a second squad slot, although one slot will be taken by a co-op companion if you choose to play this multiplayer. So just bear that in mind. You can have 2 companions with you at any time, but typically, if you're playing multiplayer, you only get 1 extra slot. So there's Boomer. He's actually stealth. If you are crouching, like this, he will also be invisible to enemies unless he attacks them. And when he does attack, sometimes they'll see him. So all your companions, you got to really think about who you take, because you might end up giving away your position by having the wrong type of companion. Like I said, if you have a companion with an unsuppressed weapon, yeah, they're probably going to give you away the moment they fire a shot. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so it looks like we've... Oh, no, I spoke too soon. I was about to say we've targeted everybody and, or tagged everybody that's in here, but no, one more just showed up. So I could take out this guy up here. I have a suppressor on this rifle, so they won't really hear it. The thing is, they hear bullet impacts, and if you miss, it does alert them. But also, if you're too close and you fire a suppressed weapon, they will still detect you, so it's not 100% truly silent unless you're using something like a bow. Just getting trapped by the sign telling me that there are bears here. Also, a lot of the places have these little areas here. Oh, hang on, they're shooting at something. Where's the shooting? Okay, so we've got this sign up here with a couple of zip lines, so we can actually zip line our way into here. We can actually zipline our way to where that sniper is. So I think this is going to be my opening maneuver here. I'm going to take out this guy, and then we're going to go to take up his spot. Did anyone hear the shot? No? I think we're good. Alright, let's go down. Oh, they're alerted for some reason. I don't know what they're alerted about. Now, they've got alarms. They haven't activated any alarms yet, though. I think they might have heard the shot. Yeah. So like I said, suppressed weapon is not 100% silent. Nope, he's seen me. Okay, so one of the downsides of the detection system in this game, if one of them sees you, they all see you. And now this has been... the alarm has been raised. I'm going to try and turn the alarms off where I can. Nope, 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 nope. So the alarm is down. Boomer's trying to fight. Boomer is good at taking down people quietly, but in a straight up fight, he's going to lose. So he's better if you're doing a stealth playthrough, but if you're going loud, probably not who you want. All right. This gun is not accurate in any way. Anyway. But here's... oh shit. Okay, so I'm really badly hurt. I can use a medkit here to heal myself back up to full, or I can wait. There is regenerative health in this game, and normally I would say that is a flaw. I don't like regenerative health normally, but in this game it kind of works because you really can't take too many hits. You take like 3 bullets and you're dead. The only thing that really improves that is if you have something like... there's a good bit of shooting there. If you have something like body armor, which definitely improves things. Alright, I'm going to use their mortar against them. So I'm going to just aim... alright, there's this guy right here. I'm going to drop a mortar on him. There's a little bit of a delay, but I think the explosive radius is big enough. Yep, it was. Oh, there's a guy right next to me. Okay, so this is where I can just go up to him and take him down. If you have a good melee weapon, you can definitely do that. Smack him in the face with a shovel, because why not? Alright, let's revive Boomer. I think there's still one more running around right now. So he's gonna get a shovel to the face, I think. I don't know where he is, but he's here somewhere. Oh, it's the dog. Okay. It's the dog. I don't know if it knows where I am. Okay, this one's a little bit hard to hit. A little bit hard to hit. Boomer's also trying to chase him down. I found a way to stop him. I think that worked. And now we get a nice little cutscene of people coming in to take over the place in cars that are already damaged, apparently. Who would have thought? But yes, they come in, they unload their supplies, they get rid of the cultist stuff, and yeah. And then the antagonist will antagonize us for a little while. Because of course they do, because it's a Far Cry game. Okay, occasionally if you piss them off enough, they will send parties out to come and hunt you down. And that will lead to, ooh, a collectible. Okay, it doesn't lead to a collectible. It leads to... it leads you to, basically a supposed to lose fight, which I thought was a little bit disappointing that you can't really fight them off. But yeah, it's a supposed to lose fight where you'll get captured and taken to alright then, calm down. That region's leader. You'll actually be taken to see them. So in this region, it's a guy by the name of Jacob, I think. See, I can't even remember their names. There we go. Jacob, John, and Faith. So if you piss them off enough, you'll get abducted and taken to their base where you have to do a little cutscene thing. And then, that sort of advances the story and you get more story missions and so on. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of how that plays out. But in between, it's stuff like this. It's the taking over of outposts, it's the finding of new companions, and you do find them by just exploring. I mean, I found Boomer at the beginning because he was marked at, where was it, here? Somewhere here, and you had to go and rescue him. And there's the same for Peaches over here, and Cheeseburger? Yeah, Cheeseburger, the bear, over here. And some of these other companions here as well. We've got, I believe that's Herc right there, and I can't remember her name now, but yeah, you... Basically, by doing all of these things, you'll unlock people who will end up joining with you. Jess, for example, I found her in this region just by liberating an outpost. She happened to be one of the prisoners in there, and then I could talk to her and do a mission. The only trouble is, some of these missions start immediately, and they require you to follow them. And some of the NPCs that you meet that have missions like this also don't become companions. So it gets a little bit confusing and slightly annoying, so do bear in mind that if you talk to somebody who has an icon over their head like that, I shouldn't aim at them, they do actually react to that, and sometimes quite badly. If you go and talk to them, it may start a mission that you have to do immediately, so just bear that in mind, it's not always the most useful thing. Yeah, so there's no warning or anything, it just kind of pops up like that. Which, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that when it happens. I like to kind of do missions at my own pace, so if you do have that same sort of attitude towards games, then you're probably not going to enjoy it either way. But yeah, all of these guys, they'll attack any enemies that come by, which is exactly what was happening there. There's also that one there, which is a prepper stash, which is where you can get some extra money and some gear and stuff. Quite useful, that. And also, yes, all of these guys, they can be recruited. So if you have an empty slot in your roster, you can recruit them. So it helps to go up to each one of them and just check what they're about, like what class they are. So I think this lady over here is a soldier, so she has a standard assault rifle kind of loadout. You'll get snipers and yeah, explosives people and so on. So quite useful variety there. If they die, they will come back. Nobody really dies. They just sort of get incapacitated for a period of time. But yeah, that's basically... Oh my god, there's another thing down here. So, I mean, if I started attacking these little icons, this is something to blow up. So I shall. I shall blow it up. And we got a little bit of RP for that. I should probably be a bit more careful with that. If you injure one of these guys, they all start attacking you, and that's not good. But you can see, look, it doesn't really stop. Like, this is non-stop action right here. This is continuing. And I have to be a bit careful because I don't want to hit the people in the back, because this is a prisoner transport. Oh, I got him! There we go. You can actually shoot through the windows of the van and accidentally hit these guys, which you really, really don't want to do. Weirdly enough, though, sometimes you can go to the back of the van and open it, sometimes you go to the side. It's really strange.
Thanks.
So
If it wasn't for Eli,
we can talk to these guys. Sometimes they say stuff.
We've survived this long.
We might have started out as some sort of weekend warriors, but the Whitetail Militia has become a real army.
Okay, so that's mainly like just flavor dialogue, but sometimes they'll have little icons above them and they'll do stuff. Oh, Boomer's looting. He gets additional loot. I've noticed if you actually loot somebody, Boomer can go and loot them again, and you'll get more things, which is kind of cool. I don't even know how this guy survived. Interesting. But yeah. Oh, that's another prison transport vehicle. So yeah, you can really just stay here and enemies will come to you. If you really want to grind out the RP that way, you can actually do it. It's really strange that you can do it, but you can. There are other vehicles in this game. There are planes and there are helicopters and so on, but I think you really kind of get the idea. Far Cry 5 is basically, it's more of the same if you like the old Far Cry, but it's also kind of streamlined, and I think if you didn't like the way Far Cry 4 was going, this actually fixes a lot of problems with the Far Cry series. So, on one hand, it's a story that's pretty forgettable, yes. Forgettable, but it doesn't really take itself too seriously. There's a lot of jokes hidden everywhere in the game, and I think a lot of people have criticized the game for trying to be too serious, as a lot of Ubisoft games tend to do. I honestly think this has a bit of that Blood Dragon style humor in it, that it's not really taking itself seriously in any way. And it's not really making any kind of political commentary or even religious commentary for that matter. It's just a very pretty open world shoot 'em up. And the fact that you no longer have to go up and down and climbing towers to reveal areas and activities, the fact that you do it just by talking to people and meeting people, it's all more organic and makes a lot more sense. And frankly, I think it makes for a more enjoyable game. No, yeah, Far Cry 5. It's pretty damn good, actually. And if you want to see more of this, Boomer? What? Oh yeah, they got rid of the looting and skinning animations and replaced it with this. So there you go. If that's not more of a reason for you to want this game, then I don't know what is. So thank you very much for watching. You can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Panzerport, or follow the links in the description below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video if you enjoyed it and if this helped you find out what this game was all about. I know it's a little bit late, but I kind of want to play it for myself and try to get a clearer idea of what's going on. And of course, thank you to Ubisoft for providing a key for this game. So there you go. Full disclosure, I almost forgot to do it. Thank you. Bye-bye.